Hey everybody, video here for you today. Now after 1700, 1800 videos, it's kind of a good place to be. You've covered pretty much all the important places and you can just talk about obscure places and just try to make your channel as thorough as possible. Now I was interested in what was happening in the UK around the time of the mound builders, say 1,000, maybe 1,500 years ago. Maybe look at a site here, picked out Ireland. Today we are going down to Northern Ireland. This is Hilltop. Best description I can give it. This is called the Grianan of Aileach, and if I mispronounce that, well, at least I'm consistent, but here are the ruins today, up on top of a large hill here. Let's look around, take a look at a few pics, do a little reading. Here's a look from the top of the fort wall here. This wall is about 15 feet thick, or 4.5 meters thick, and just about as tall as it is thick. It's about 16 feet tall, just under 5 meters tall. Here is the fort today, what it overlooks. This is built up on top of a large hill. And then right at the top, there seems to be 3 levels, 3 tiers that this fort is built on top of. What is under the ground here? Not quite sure, but this dates back maybe 1,500 years, the origin of it. Now, I might have said this is in Northern Ireland. It is in the north of Ireland, but it's not in the country of Northern Ireland. I need to specify that. But it is in the county of Donegal, and that Donegal name comes from Donegal, meaning fort of the foreigners. But with the same as mound builder sites, the more I read on this, the history kind of went back further and further and back in history. This seems to be a site where people have been building for a long, long time. This mound or this hill, I think it's called Grianan Hill, seemed to be a very important place for a long, long time. Here's a sign from the site. You notice the diagram down here. They actually have those levels below the fort here. There are 3 of them, and you can kind of see those on Google Earth too. And if you look at a few videos from the site, why were they attracted to here? It says the builders may have been attracted to this hilltop site by the presence of a sacred monument, a prehistoric burial mound or tumulus, possibly from the Neolithic period, around 5,000 years old, is right up on this hill. I believe it's depicted right there. Here it talks about the terraces that this hill fort appears to be built upon. It says they ascend above each other, creating level terraces. The circular apex of the hill within the outermost enclosure contains about 5.4 acres. Within the second, about 4 acres, and within the third, about 9.9 acres. Currently, the innermost bank is very low, worn, and heather covered, but traceable for almost its entire circuit. Now, I've read a lot of varying histories on this place. Seems a lot of different periods of history. There was people here building on this place. It seemed to be a pretty sacred mound. They give some different names for it. The hill it is built on, Grianan Mountain, is 244 meters high, or 800 feet high. The main structure is a stone ringfort thought to have been built by the northern Neil, and that is just a dynasty coming from 1,300 years ago in Ireland. It also says it has been identified as the seat of the Kingdom of Ailigh, one of the royal sites of Gaelic Ireland. Here is a pic from 1878, over 140 years ago, when they reopened this historic site as a tourist attraction here. That's pretty cool, coming from 140 years ago, a little bit over. Here is a close-up of the walls, and it says they are made of mica schist. Here is the fort on top of what appears to be a 3-level construction on top of this hill. A little bit of a mystery there, but down here, there's a tunnel going underneath. They call this the Well of St. Patrick. That's pretty interesting, tunnels going underneath here. Seems a history they mainly talk about comes from about 1,000, 1,500 years ago, but I found another website that told a little different story that goes further back. The origins of the Grianan of Aileach fort are dated back to 1700 BC. It is linked to the Tuatha De Danann, who invaded Ireland before the Celts and built stone forts on top of strategic hills. They worshipped Dagda, the good god, and he too is associated with the origins of Aileach. It was he who ordered the building of the stone fort to act as a burial monument to his dead son. So that's another story attached to the place that goes back 3,700 years. However old this place is, it seems to have some alignments built into it. We are perfectly north-south, even though we are not in the exact center of the fort here, but this hole or this doorway, portal, whatever, appears to be aligned perfectly on the south side of the monument. This door, this open door, appears to be open to the sunrise on the spring equinox, and I'll show that here in a second. Here we are from overhead, and there is that door I showed you. We are perfectly aligned north-south, so that doorway appears to align perfectly east, so there will be an alignment there with the rising sun on the spring equinox. I will leave a link for this video below, but you can kind of see the rings around the base of the fort here. Seems to be some construction under it, but this also shows the spring equinox alignment. People for thousands of years have looked at the spring equinox as a very important date. Angkor Wat, of course, the Great Sphinx at Giza, other places, but here seems to be aligned to the same thing that many ancient cultures align their monuments to. That's pretty cool. Here's an old diagram of the place. It was discovered in the early 1800s, and then work went on here about a century ago. The place was kind of in ruins when they found it, but there was enough still standing that they knew what it looked like. Here you see some tunnels that were within the walls here, and there's no real answer to the purpose of those. If they had a spring equinox alignment, does this have to do something with the journey of the sun? The north side here, north side of the pyramid builders, is where the sun came out of the underworld. I'm just wondering. That's just a thought. I just thought the history of this place was pretty fascinating because it just seems to go back further and further. The reasons why it being here. Here you notice what appears to be something right under the ground here, going in a circular fashion, maybe something right up here under the ground. But I just enjoyed doing this video. You learn a lot doing these. Once again, here's the whole hill. You can kind of make it out right here. And then up on top, there appears to be different levels of construction under the ground that this thing is built on top of. If any of you live near here or have any further information, I'd like to hear it. But it kind of disappears out of view right away. I guess there are over 40,000 hill forts, they estimate, in the UK. Ireland, pretty ancient part of the world. Hope you thought that was interesting. You all have a very safe day.